increased physical activity increases lifespan, the ability to get around without significant help from others. What are the challenges and how do we take advantage of both extending our lives through working out and extending our mobility also through working out? Funk Roberts is a leading fitness expert and best-selling author dedicated to transforming men's health in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond.
When I went home and finally took off my shirt and saw what I looked like, I had excess belly fat, big and puffy, and then that, boom, light bulb. It's like, okay, so you're trying to tell me that if I increase my testosterone levels, all of these things will happen? It's like, absolutely, that's what testosterone was there for. Male hormone, this is what it does.
Hi, my name is Chris Burris. I'm a longevity expert and the chief scientist at a lab focused on a longevity molecule. My primary focus is to help people live longer and better lives with science. Make sure to subscribe and share so you and your friends can live longer and better. Well, actually, so you and your friends can live beyond the norms. Funk Roberts, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, wow, thank you so much for having me. That was a great intro. I appreciate you having me on here, and I cannot wait to share my information on longevity.
Awesome. So you had a health scare later in life, but before that health scare, talk about your relationship with athletics, health, and wellness before that scare actually happened.
Sure. So I was lucky enough to grow up playing a lot of sports, right? Like my parents used to, I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning because I think this makes sense. So, you know, my parents used to send me to sports camp, YMCA sports camp on the weekends. I'm 54 years old, so I was a latchkey kid, living in Toronto, Scarborough, and every, summer I'd go to sports camp for literally the entire summer. And throughout my years, 7, 8, 9, 10, I started to become really good at sports and, honed my athletics. And so to the point where, I was great at pretty much every sport that I did. I was really one or two picked on the team. But at the same time, while I was at home, I would see my parents, they're working sometimes 2 jobs. They're taking care of the house. They're taking care of me. And then they're going out and practicing. And then literally every single week, they're coming home with trophies. Because my parents were high level athletes as well. So seeing that every single week, they're coming in with more trophies. Looking at the trophy case, I really started to light a passion around athletics. I remember when I was 11 years old, my dad came with the Weider weight set, and my friends and I are trying to build biceps, big biceps, and I started to look at all the bodybuilding magazines. So truly, health and fitness was kind of ingrained in me when I was young. And then, high school comes and I start to play sports, and then volleyball seemed to be the sport that I picked up. So I played professional beach volleyball and indoor volleyball at the highest level all over the world. And, that really allowed me to learn how to be a top level athlete, right? What you have to do. I'm 5'11", I'm playing against guys who are 6'5". When I played indoor, I'm playing against guys who are 7 foot. So I had to jump high. I had to learn about plyometrics. I had to learn a lot about how to keep myself in top shape off season. So when the on season comes, I can win some money, specifically playing, beach volleyball around the world. So that was great because for me, I did learn how, the high level that it takes to be an athlete and to be a professional athlete. But when I turned 30, I retired from sports. I retired from volleyball and moved into the corporate world, right? So, I had kids and I'm doing the 9 to 5 and, the grind, sitting at your desk. And it was something that was actually very tough for me at first. And then as I'm going through, I still have my toe in fitness, right? I become a personal trainer and realize I hate personal training because I don't like training one-on-one. Then I do boot camps, right? I do boot camps because I was one of the first to do boot camps here in Toronto. So I'd be lugging all this equipment to the beach or to the field, and literally hundreds of people coming. And yes, it's great after a while, but it gets old having to lug things and then pack up the truck and take it home. So as much as I love the boot camps, I realized, okay, this may not be a sustainable business for me because I'm still working 9 to 5, trying to climb up that corporate ladder. But then the online space started to happen, right? YouTube started, actually blogging started. And so I started a newsletter and I got everyone who worked with me on my newsletter. So now I walk into work and people are like, hey, what should I eat? Hey, what type of workouts should I do? All of the questions that everyone asks when it comes to fitness. And then YouTube took off. 2017, I think, was my very first YouTube video. And I started posting these YouTube videos, using those in my newsletter. And again, remember, I'm still working the 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 7, because one of the things that I also learned about myself is I always wanted to excel, no matter what I did. It didn't matter if I was selling Yuck Yucks tickets. Yuck Yucks was a comedy shop. If I was selling Yuck Yucks tickets door to door, it didn't matter what I did. I wanted to excel. I wanted to be the best that I could be. So in both lanes, I'm learning this online space. I'm doing the videos on my own. I'm shooting videos in a very dark basement. Me being black in a dark basement, you can't really see, but that's okay, because it's all about the content is what I learned. And
there is a reason my background is dark also, just by the way.
Film contrast. And so, I'm figuring out the online space and things that I can do, and then also working. But at this time, I'm like 39 years old. And even though I'm posting workouts on YouTube, I start to feel a little different. I start to feel different. Like, man, I'm getting puffy. I was like 215 pounds, very big. I was puffy. And the guy I was working out with at the gym, my workout partner, says to me, hey, man, like, you're like the hardest worker in this gym, right? You come in here five days a week. You're working out an hour and a half. And doesn't it piss you off that you still look the same after 6 months? And, for me, that I got really defensive because I got pushed back. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because what I started to realize is I never really looked at myself with my shirt off. I always had a shirt on, or I never looked at myself in the mirror when I was naked. And so that hit me hard. And then when I went home and finally took off my shirt and saw what I looked like, it was like, oh man, this is okay. He's totally right. Like I had excess belly fat. I was big and puffy. And then, so what do you do when that happens? You hit the gym harder. You try all kinds of different diet plans, right? You double down, and things just got worse. My joints started to hurt. I started to get injured. And then one day I came home, and the girl that I was living with at that time literally left me. She said, I'm leaving because we're not having sex. And that was literally a slap to the face, because I had no libido. My mood had changed. My confidence was going down. My body shape was changing. And then my girl leaves me, and that hit me very, very hard. It sent me down a very dark hole. In fact, I masked my manhood by going to strip joints and after hours and like parties and in places where, I'm at a strip joint. Well, that means I'm a man, right? Like it's a weird thought process that men have sometimes.
Nope.
And I went down that deep hole, drugs, addiction. It was very, very horrible, not knowing what was going on. And then I went to my doctor. So now I'm 39, still on 39, go to my doctor. We do the yearly checkup, take tests, come back later. And he goes, hey man, your testosterone levels are like that of a grandfather. Like it's 180 something nanograms per deciliter. I'm like, and so for me, I'm like, well, that's impossible because I'm big. Like I'm a big guy. So how could that happen? I go to the gym. I'm a big guy. So like totally disoriented and not attached to the fact that it's more than just that. And that's not the indication. And so he started to lay out, you low libido, how's your sex? How's your mood? How's this? How's that? And literally telling me all of the things that I was suffering from. And then that, boom, light bulb. It's like, okay, so you're trying to tell me that if I increase my testosterone levels, all of these things will happen? It's like, absolutely. That's what testosterone is there for. So number one, male hormone. This is what it does. And so that set me on a journey, right? Because of course he wanted to, actually at that point, there was hormone therapy wasn't that big and he suggested it, but I was like, nah, man, I'm going to do this naturally. And so that just set me on a journey. Now, remember, this is 14 years ago when there wasn't like Google, or there probably was, but I mean, that wasn't like something you would think about Googling and trying to find. So I had to go to the libraries. I used to work in the neurology unit doing research. So I had access to, hormone specialists. And so I went so deep, what type of workouts to do, what type of nutrition. And then 6 months later, I completely transformed. My body completely transformed. 185 pounds, lean and ripped. And now in my 40s, I was feeling like a brand new man. Like talking about longevity, it's like, oh my God, like I feel like $1 million. So I went back to one of the sports that I loved, the combat sport, which was Muay Thai. I used to train Muay Thai when I was 19, but because I was a professional athlete, I couldn't do both. And so I go to Thailand because, again, I want to go to the best, right? I'm not going to, I mean, I did go to the local places, but I want to go to Thailand. Like that's their sport. And I go to Thailand and we're training at a place called Tiger Muay Thai. It was very extreme training. But at that time, all of these MMA fighters from all over the world go to Thailand to hone their stand-up skills, right? Their Muay Thai, punching, kickboxing. And I see them at the gym and everyone's doing bicep curls. And I had just got my strength and conditioning MMA certification because I'm using it myself for my combat, skills and physical attributes and what I would need. And so I started going up to people, hey man, you probably shouldn't do that because these are the things you need to be doing as a fighter, mobility, cardio, muscle endurance, explosiveness, power, all of these things, right? And you're doing bicep curls. So it's not going to help you. And so I actually ended up doing a seminar at Tiger Muay Thai at that time. And then on the way back home, on the plane, I said, you know what? I'm going to start a website called Funk MMA. And it's going to be a strength and conditioning website for fighters. Doesn't matter if it's MMA, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing. And it's just going to be workouts. I'm going to just put up workouts so that a fighter knows, no matter if it's a UFC fighter or if it's a fighter who just trains at the local gym or trains in the basement, they can go there and they will know that the workouts there are legit. And so that's what we did. We built Funk MMA and I started posting workouts. I started to grow my brand. People started to know me everywhere, Funk MMA, and my focus was strength and conditioning for athletes. Started training athletes one-on-one. I would go to Thailand every single year, fight, because I fought the very next year and won a fight and got married. And like my 40s were the best. Like my 40s, I fought a professional Muay Thai fight at 41, won the fight, got married to my beautiful wife, helped my son go to college. I quit my 6-figure job to start this entrepreneur journey. I was traveling all over the world. I was working with the UFC. I was working with fighters. I was becoming a world-renowned fitness expert in my field. And all of this is happening in my 40s. So like that was like the best decade, even better than when I was a professional athlete. And I did very well as an athlete. So I'm thinking, man, this is incredible. Like this is like a newfound life. But throughout this time, and I'm going to get to this point here, throughout this time, so, like I'm getting older, I'm looking, fighters don't have a lot of money, so you're not going to make a ton of money on the business side, right? So I have to start thinking about what am I going to do? Like, in my 50s, am I going to be doing burpees all the way till I'm 55, 65? I got to rethink of who I want to serve. And then it hit me, man. I started to kind of become more aware of the guys around me who were my age, who were struggling. People coming up to me, calling me, hey, Funk, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. And realize, man, these guys are struggling with the things I used to struggle with. I know what you're struggling with because that happened to me, but it was testosterone. It was testosterone. And that didn't really resonate with people. That doesn't resonate with most guys because they don't think testosterone has anything to do with anything but just sex and not really realize that it's everything that we pretty much are. So I decided I was going to work with men over 40. And so that's when I started the over 40 shred at the time. I put 90 guys through this program, right, that I created. Nutrition, workouts, recovery, mindset, supplementation, sleep. And out of the 50 guys through 90, like 35 finished. And out of those 35, 100% of those men got results. So I knew, okay, this is it. But then I had the health scare. So this is kind of like the lead up to the health, to what happened, because I had just launched my site. I just launched this new identity because I had to create a whole new identity. People in the industry, men over 40, had no clue who I was, right? Because I was so involved in the fight game that no one's going to know who I am. So I have to kind of like reinvent myself as someone who knows what they're struggling with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So a couple of things that I didn't realize, and I appreciate the whole story. Just jotted down. So, is it typical that beach volleyball players are not as tall as indoor volleyball players? Like that, just because you said they're usually taller indoors. I think that's something that nobody except for a volleyball player would know. And if you could quickly, because I want to get into the meat of this, talk about that.
Yeah. So in the 90s when I played, that was the case. Now it's totally different.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The athletes were like the tallest guy on the beach, pretty much around the world, was maybe 6'5", 6'6". Now it's everyone's like the shortest is 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so yeah, that's old school days. You know,
that's an evolution of the sport, and probably like beach volleyball was newer, so the athletes went to the real sport, and then the smaller, less inclined athletes or less physically adept athletes. I thought that was fascinating. And your story about kind of what you saw with your parents, I've got to ask this question to see if you know the answer, and it's not really a gotcha. It's just an interesting result. What is the number one thing that you can do to make sure your children are professional athletes?
Wow, that's a great, just it's all about action, because for me, I have a son who's 26 years old who just came back from Thailand, a life-changing experience. And all he wants to do is be a Muay Thai fighter. He's actually saving up. And why is this? Well, because he's seeing his father, you know, through all of the journey, ups and downs, fighting in Thailand, training, like seeing it, and it's consistent. It's not something that is he sees once in a while. It's consistent. So now he has something to pull from. Like my parents weren't, hey, play beach volleyball. Hey, do that. In fact, my parents never came to my tournaments, and they drove me to practice, but they never came to any of my beach volleyball tournaments or indoor tournaments or when I played professional. They never overseas, you know, they didn't care really. They didn't get it. They wanted me to go to school, and then they wanted me to, you know, be in the corporate world. But what they didn't know was what I was seeing every single weekend, and just like week after week, trophies. And like, I wanted a trophy. That's why I worked so hard to be the best. Like, it's so insane that without even saying anything.
The number one thing you can do to have your child be a professional athlete is to be a professional athlete. The stats are just undeniable. So that's anyway, I just thought I wanted to throw that out. All right. So how do you see fitness tying in with longevity, and what do you like seeing most in the men that you help transform?
Well, yeah, fitness is everything when it comes to longevity, because if you think about it, you know, first let's talk about some of the physiological changes that happen for us, right? Like, I'm speaking just men over 40, right? Because I only focus on men. So, you know, I talked about testosterone. So testosterone levels naturally decrease 1 to 2% every single year after the age of 30. So by the time men reach 40 or 50 or 60, they are experiencing the symptoms of low testosterone, but they have no clue that it's testosterone that's causing those symptoms. You know, people are thinking, oh, I got the dad bod. Oh, this is normal. Oh, after 40 your years are done. You know, all of these things, all these narratives that come in, but it's actually something physiological. The second thing is sarcopenia, which is the natural loss of muscle due to aging. So again, every decade, you're losing 3 to 8% muscle, and then that accelerates in your 60s and 70s, et cetera. So knowing that you have those two things, plus the metabolism slows down, nothing physiological, that's mostly lifestyle, right? Bouncing from diet to diet or not training and just a busy lifestyle. And now when you get to 40, you have no clue what workouts to do, because that's another thing I realized working with all these men. They don't know what workouts to do. They don't know what diet plan. One person's pulling them over to keto. The other person's pulling them over to paleo. Someone else is saying vegan. Someone else is saying this. Where none of those nutrition diets or fat diets or restrictive diets will help with hormones, because the goal is balancing hormones, increasing T, decreasing estrogen. Of course, we need a little bit of estrogen for our sex, but too much is also going to, decrease your testosterone levels and just imbalance your hormones, plus the belly fat and everything else that comes with it, the man boobs, all of those things. And then, of course, we have our cortisol, right? So the stress hormones that play into our lives. So again, we need the cortisol, but not chronic cortisol for the whole day. Like right now, probably our cortisol levels are high. When we work out, our cortisol levels are high. When we wake up, cortisol levels are high. So the number one thing is, okay, we need to balance our hormones, right? Feed the thyroid so that our metabolism can kickstart, balance our hormones, but we do it naturally. So that's all fitness, right? Like the foods you eat, the foods you stay away from, those play a massive part in hormonal balance. The type of workouts you do, no longer are you spending an hour and a half, an hour in the gym, because that's going to increase the cortisol level. Specifically for us guys too, in 40s, 50s, 60s, we don't recover the way we used to, right? We can't eat the foods we used to eat. We don't recover the way we used to. So I always say, like, guys, like, yes, you can get in the best shape of your life. Like I see it every single day. It's insane, actually. But our margin of error is here. Like, we can't do all of these things we did outside of this margin here. You used to be out here. Now it's closing in. Not to say that we can't get into incredible shape and health and live till we're, 99, but we have to stay in here and we have to be consistent in here and we have to make this the lifestyle. So working out, the type of workouts you do, not working out every day, 3 to 4 workouts a week, total body workouts, recovery, physical recovery is key. So that ties into the fitness set because, again, men aren't thinking about yoga or mobility. In fact, they probably have no clue what mobility is. Pilates? Why would I do Pilates? That's a women's thing. Yoga? There's no way you can get me to do yoga. Oh yeah, but if you want to be sustainably working out without the joint pain, without the injuries, then you need to include mobility, yoga, Pilates, something that's going to help you with, longevity, because we want to sustainably work out. We don't want to get caught in, I got injured and now I couldn't work out for 3 months and I put on all this weight and I feel horrible about myself because I just did a great job for 3 months and I got injured. Like all of these things mentally are going to play a big part. And we all know we're struggling with mental health at our age, 40s, 50s, 60s as well, because we don't have the self-image that we used to when we were younger and we're in better shape and better health. So fitness is like the key, right? Building muscle, that is that's the muscle equals longevity as far as I'm concerned, right? You got to continue to build that muscle, keep the metabolic process going in your body, fight sarcopenia, increase your metabolism, strong, be functional on a daily basis. So yeah, it's the cornerstone of longevity.
That makes perfect sense. Now, you founded National Testosterone Awareness Day, and as I'm asking this question based on what you've said already, you didn't found National Testosterone Replacement Awareness Day. You founded National Testosterone Awareness Day. What do you think of testosterone replacement?
Well, that is, so in the Brotherhood, we have 2 main enemies. The first enemy is too much estrogen, right? Feminization. So we all have a common enemy. We have to fight estrogen. We have to make sure that our estrogen levels are low because most guys coming in their estrogen levels are 25% higher than they were before. And the second thing is testosterone replacement therapy because of the side effects that come with that, right? The fact that your natural testosterone stops, your scrotum shrinks, all of the possible health risks that come with testosterone replacement therapy, heart attacks and blood clots and, the mood swings and weight gain and inflammation and all of these things that kind of like guys don't think about. Because in the end, it's not the testosterone replacement that's going to help with what you are dealing with. You need a holistic lifestyle change. Because if I just go on testosterone replacement therapy and still eat horribly, not work out or work out sometimes, not focus on my recovery, not worry about sleep, maybe every time I go for my whatever it is, injection or pill or whatever it is, I may feel good for a couple of days, but if you have the same behavior, it's in the end, it's just, you're only going to peak at whatever the level's going to be. And then and then if you can't afford it and continue to pay for it, then you stop and your T levels have plummeted. We've had guys come in the program who were on testosterone replacement therapy, and do this, our program and increase their T levels higher than they were when they were on testosterone replacement therapy. But that makes sense to me because there's a peak at some point. Like if you're not doing everything else, if you're still eating soy and all, drinking alcohol and all of the things that like crush your T levels, even if you're getting it, externally, it's still it's still, I mean, it's all about the lifestyle. Now, there are some people who need it. Like, if you had testicular damage or you suffer from, concussions and those things, brain injuries, that sort of thing, for sure. But that's a very, very, very minute part of the men over 40 audience. So, and I do remember, by the way, back when my doctor presented it to me back when I was 39, 40, he said that I would have to do things naturally before he would actually put me on it, if that was the case. I don't think that happens anymore. I could be wrong, but I know that some of the guys in my brotherhood come in, oh yeah, I went to my doctor and he said he wanted to put me on this. And like literally I start right away. It's like, what are you talking about? Like you have to show that but maybe it's different now. So I don't know about that. Anyways, natural.
You are enjoying, well, at least I hope you're enjoying the Live Beyond the Norms podcast. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, and make sure you share. But don't be that annoying guy, whatever you do. Don't share it with people who aren't actually interested in living beyond the norms. I think kind of two things. You had a progressive doctor, right? Because a lot of doctors are like, what, go to the book, go to the doctor book. What is the solution? The solution is testosterone, like assign that testosterone and it takes, and that's where they make their money. They don't make their money saying, hey, go home and work on the natural solutions. That's not where they make their money. So I think you had somebody progressive and kind of awareness has changed now. So I don't know, maybe the doctors have less time than they used to. There's all sorts of things. I want to come back to nutrition, and I'm going to tease. I'm going to ask for some. You mentioned soy, right? I'm going to ask for some more tips and tricks about increasing your testosterone with nutrition. But before we go there, what should we be focusing on fitness-wise, and what are the types of workouts men over 40 should be doing? Because you consulted on the MMA side. Let's talk about on the over 40 side.
Yeah, so lucky for me, because I was also master trainer in metabolic conditioning. That's what I used for training my athletes. I created a certification for that. So metabolic training for men over 40 is perfect. So what's metabolic training? Metabolic training is literally circuit training, moving from one exercise to another. So for instance, you do one exercise for 40 seconds of work, then you rest 20 seconds, you move on to the next exercise for 40 seconds, rest for 20 seconds, and you finish that circuit, rest, and you may do that 2 or 3 times. Total body workouts using metabolic training, no longer than 30 minutes, is the optimal, specifically for men over 40 and men over 40 who are starting, right? I'm not talking about the guys who've been in the gym forever, but this type of training, what it does is it hits what's called the EPOC, or the afterburn effect, right? So metabolic training allows you to burn calories during and hours after due to EPOC, because of the body is still burning calories, still trying to get back to homeostasis. So you start the workout, you're here, then you're training very hard, very intense for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, what have you. And now it's taking the body, hours and hours and hours, sometimes up to 24 hours, depending on how hard the workout is, to get back to homeostasis, which means it's energy, which means you're burning calories. So you're still burning calories sitting on the couch. It's so funny because when new guys come into the program, they're always like, hey, Funk, I think I have a sweating problem, because like a couple hours after I finish your work and I'm still sweating. And I'm like, yeah, that's because of the afterburn. That's good. That's not bad. That's good. Your body is still, metabolizing. Your body is still trying to get you back down to homeostasis. So metabolic training is perfect because you can do body weight. You can use dumbbells. We use dumbbells and body weight for sure. Put in functional, fundamental movements like the squat, the lunge, the hip hinge, pushing, pulling, core, or just basic exercises that hit specific muscle groups. And that all comes into programming, which is why I think men at this age should get either a trainer or someone who knows how to program this, because it's very different. There's so much information. Like, how are you going to know that it's metabolic training? I'm supposed to do these exercises. It's very, very difficult. So in the program that we have, not only do I program everything, but I actually shoot follow along workouts, because so here's the thing, like if you're coming in at 40 or 50 or 60 and you haven't worked out in a long time, so you're not really sure. You see people on Instagram, you get all this information, but you're still not sure. You go to the gym and you kind of like get there and you're like, oh man, I haven't been here in a long time. Okay, well there's okay, there's dumbbells, so I'm going to pick them up and do some bicep curls. You're just doing bicep curls, looking around. You're putting it down, and then you just walk around aimlessly. Oh, I'm going to sit into this chair. Of course, like they don't. It's not their fault. They just don't know. So when I created this program, I had to make sure that I checked all the boxes. Okay, how many of these guys to work out? First, I'm going to shoot follow-along workouts. So, in the follow-along workouts, I'm actually going to be there working out with them. I'm going to, do the exercise. We're going to be doing it together. I'm going to coach. I'm going to die. They're going to see who I am because I'm farting, I'm swearing, I'm doing all of these things in the workout. And so there's a connection. Yeah, there's a connection, and it allows them to, and they can work out at home because all my workouts are pretty much for home. You can do them in the gym, but I had to make sure that, I'd be cognizant of the lifestyle everyone has. Everyone's busy, specifically during that age. So 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15-minute workouts, comfort of your own home, a couple of dumbbells, and they're follow along. So I'm going to teach you how to train. And then, so those are the type of workouts. And of course, there's so many there's so many ways to program it. So it never gets old. Like I have 36 phases. A phase is 1 month. And then I have another program with another 3 phases. So another 36 phases. So it's like, it never gets old for me specifically because I love programming. And then seeing the transition and transformation of these guys is incredible. But the other thing I had to think about, and there's a change in the mindset, because now when someone comes in, they think workouts. Funk, why are we only working out for 30 minutes? How come it's not longer? Funk, can I do cardio on my off day? No cardio. You don't want to be on the treadmill or on the elliptical doing 45 minutes of moderate cardio, because now you're increasing your cortisol levels. Your cortisol levels are going to be elevated. Your HGH are, your human growth hormones, which increase after 20, 30 minutes, now has plummeted because your cortisol is crushing it. And you're setting yourself up for, more muscle. Well, I mean, it's debatable, but you're just focusing on burning up that muscle as opposed to building muscle. And, in the end, it's not worth it. Heavy on the joints, etc. So we'll have to help them to rewire their thoughts of mobility, and the yoga is just as important as the workouts. And that's that big, what are you talking about? Like, no, the workouts, Funk. How am I going to lose this belly fat? Believe me, if you want to get to phase 36, and for me as well, as someone who's creating a system for men this age, 40s, 50s, 60s, because remember, my focus is longevity. My focus is sustainability. I want to make sure these guys can get to phase 36 without getting injured. The last thing I want is them going, I did this Funk Roberts program and I got injured. No injury. So you have to do those things. And I'm telling you, the mindset changes. I love working with men because the direction, if you give them direction, this is what you're going to do. And yes, you're going to get a little bit of pushback. I've heard I wasn't supposed to eat a lot of carbs, or I thought I was supposed to do cardio. Where's the cardio? And I'm like, the metabolic workout that you're sweating 2 hours later, that's your cardio. That's going to burn fat. That's going to help, that's going to help you transform your body, your physique. But it's the mobility work, and then how they feel. It's incredible when you get posts in the Facebook group. Did my recovery day today, did an awesome yoga with, Victoria or Veronica, did mobility with Funkster. Like, it's amazing how that's the highlight as opposed to the sweaty selfie, because most guys, they never would have done that. And most guys don't do that. So it's a different identity, but it's something that helps them stay injury-free and sustains them to work out.
Yeah, I know there's a time in our life that my wife and I were going to yoga classes on Saturdays, and it was significantly harder than it looks, right? There's points where you're holding a pose and you're actually shaking and you leave sore. Like you really leave sore. And then I also understand, like, it's not very active, right? There are some people who are, have this desire for active. I think I fall into that. I've recently started I tend to do, you didn't mention, how many days a week are you doing this kind of metabolic training?
three days a week are the main workouts with a bonus workout, or I get them to do some type of activity on the Saturday or the fourth day. So but everyone does the workouts because there's
yeah. So I've kind of tweaked. I have a personal trainer. I think that's a great recommendation.
Yes.
I know people who have actually had conversations with them like, hey, you're still not in shape from last year and you should get a personal trainer. And they're like, I just need to go to the gym. And you're like, you're right, but you haven't done it for 12 months. So you should just hire somebody, because then I promise you'll go. So I definitely believe in that. We do that. And I did one, metabolic training today, and like, as he's leaving, I'm sitting in my chair, and it's, a good 10, 15 minutes to like wind down from that 30-minute workout. But my cardio in between, I've slowed down to phase 2, right? So I like to run, but I run faster typically. And I ride the bike, but I can do that. And it's interesting because it is so to be in phase 2, right? Like, it keeps you out of aerobic exercise, right? Keeps you out of the cardio workouts. You're riding your bike like Pee Wee Herman. I describe it like Pee Wee Herman, waving your hands. And it's hard to do because, I've been an athlete my whole life. I would just like to say that I still am. I have challenges, but I still am. And to go that slow is hard. And so, I don't know, you probably have to advise people not even to get there. I just wanted to share that. I also want to share when I first heard 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound that bad. Oh my God, that's hard. Like,
it's killer because you're doing as many reps as possible during that 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And with only 20 seconds rest before you move to the next one,
it's brutal.
Yeah.
But it feels so good, right? And I'm going to throw this in because I've shared this with my personal trainer. A lot of people look at working out as, penance for the cake they ate the day before or whatever. And I look at it as the celebration of what your body can do. And I think that mindset really does change a lot. Oh, I'm doing this, I got to slug it out because, I ate a cake yesterday. No. Like, okay, maybe you ate the cake yesterday. Maybe you didn't eat the cake yesterday. But today you're like celebrating the movements that you have the opportunity to do. I think that's good. Are there any exercise changes, right? So you're working with 40, 50, 60 years old. Are you really kind of guiding them through? Are there any changes that you would make to those workouts as they're going through those life stages? Maybe your group's going to get into the 70s because they're focused on longevity, and if they listen to the summit, then they're more likely to get there. But any changes that you would recommend as you're kind of increasing in age?
So basically, we do. So basically, see, when we get older, specifically for longevity, we need those type 2 muscle fibers. We need to be able to jump. We need to be able to run. We need to be able to throw. We need to be able to do all of those things, right? Obviously, we're not going to be deadlifting 300 pounds because we don't need to do that. But there are ways to deadlift with dumbbells, deadlift with kettlebells, because I'm a big proponent of kettlebell training as well. And so it is a progressive program. At first, it's just, very basic movements because I'm also big on mastering movements. Right, mastering the squat. If you can't squat with your body weight and squat with those mechanics, then why you can't do it with weight? It's just you're setting yourself up for failure. And so, again, the fundamental movements, the squat, the lunge, the hip hinge, the push, pull, carry, core, those are key because those are going to transfer to outside, to work, to daily life, to grocery shopping, picking up your kids, fixing things at the house, all of those things. So I have to make sure that happens. But what happens too is as they go through the phases, their fitness level increases. Even though the workouts get harder, the fitness level increases. So by phase 12, when they become an alpha OG, because that's what we call them after phase 12, if they went back to do a phase 1 workout, it would just be like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is child's play. And then we move into the next set, and now we're doing more Metcon style training, more plyometrics, things that will build all of the types of muscles and movement patterns that we need as we get older, because we don't want to get stuck. And we have 70-year-old guys in our program with 6-pack abs doing insane things. It's like they're probably the ones that people look to. Craig Morfitts, Don Camerons, like those guys are just like pillars in our tribe, because you're thinking, man, I remember when this guy came in. Look at him now; he's coaching basketball and keeping up with his players, and he's 70 years old. He's going on hikes. He's doing other things, because as you get older, it's less about, well, I used to think it was less about the six pack, but these guys have a different mindset. But it's more about, hey, I want to wake up feeling good, no joint pain. So I'm going to do my mobility in the morning. I want to wake up feeling great. I want to go on hikes. I want to, if I'm retired, because we have guys who are retired now, I want to, be able to do things with my wife, travel with my grandchildren. And then we have guys who have been in the military coming in with all these crazy injuries. And for them, it's about, hey, I would just want to get rid of it, or figure out this injury that I have from whatever happened to me in the past, and then them feeling much better. So it's all about, I try to keep it joint friendly near the beginning, because obviously I don't want people getting injured, but that's why we have the warm up, we have the stretch, and then we have the recovery. But man, it doesn't change. It doesn't change, except we're not putting barbells on our back. We're not deadlifting, like all of that. We're not doing bench presses. We're doing things that are going to be functional for everyday life and longevity, because that's what it is. It's about living longer and healthier and fitter and stronger.
Excellent. So I had a little teaser, and you've talked about balancing hormones, feeding the thyroid, testosterone. What are some of the kind of food nutrition tricks and tips that you would give, and I'm sure that you share in your group regularly?
Yeah. So we follow. So again, that's the key, right? Knowing the hormones. So we want to make sure that our nutrition plan will help with hormonal balance, metabolism, feeding the muscles, energy, keeping inflammation down. So what I've learned through all my research and from proof is we use a balanced plate. So we only eat it's only 3 meals a day, and it's a balanced plate, meaning every single meal, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, first of all, that's all you're having. There's no snacks in between. You have starchy complex carbs, because again, those complex carbs are going to help with insulin. They're going to help with the thyroid. They're going to help with muscle growth. And the micronutrients in some of those foods are going to help with testosterone. So you have to have a source of starchy complex carbs, source of protein, high quality protein, because obviously protein is the building blocks of our muscles, our bones, our metabolic processes. Our body doesn't naturally produce it, so we need to get it from outside sources. But we want to make sure that it's high quality, because remember, this margin is not, we don't have the margin that we used to. So we want to optimize our body. And then we have a source of healthy fat, which is extremely important, because healthy fats have cholesterol, and cholesterol is a precursor to testosterone production. So, that whole process happens in the morning, gets down to the testes. We're looking around for the cholesterol. If there's no cholesterol, then there's no spark. And if there's no spark, there's no production. So we have to make sure that that's key. And then of course, fruits and vegetables, greens, fruits and vegetables, because they have the micronutrients, right? The vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants, all of those things that are key. And they're more important than the macros as far, well, I mean, obviously they're not, but we really focus on the micronutrients part of the nutrition plan, because understanding why you're eating something, right? So that's another thing is the education piece, because a lot of times with all these diets, they're just going to tell you what to do, but they're not going to explain, why are you doing this? What is it doing to my body? But when you know that, okay, the reason why I'm eating this starchy carb is because blah, 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 blah. Oh, and this sweet potato has boron or whatever, selenium, has selenium in it. So that's going to help with this. The reason why I'm eating healthy fats. Oh, wait, where's my fat? Oh, I better get an avocado, chop it up. Okay, got it, because that's my cholesterol, and I need that. So it's like, that's the mindset. And then knowing why you stay away from certain foods, right? Like processed foods, sugars, soy, juice, flaxseed, licorice, like all of the things that directly kill your T and kind of make you estrogenic in some ways, and all things that just literally kill your health, right? Like alcohol. I'm a big proponent of not drinking alcohol, specifically at our age, because I always say this. Listen, man, we're in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like the days of drinking, hey, we had those days, right? Like you can hold on to those days, but there's no real reason for us to go out and get sloshed at 45 years old when we have a family or we have work or that sort of thing. And knowing that alcohol is going to damage our health and our hormones and that sort of thing, why would you want to put that in your body anyway? And then the other thing is, the social part of being social is the social part, right? Because a lot of people will think alcohol and social, and we need the alcohol to be social, but it's the opposite. I think the social part is enough. And so, I'm not one of those guys who are like, you cannot drink, but the first phase, they don't drink. And then they start to realize, like, as you're going through the phases and, maybe you have a glass of wine here and there, it's like, why can't I get rid of this belly fat? Why can't this happen? Why is that not happening? And when you unpack it, that's generally the missing link, the last thing. So I try to just say, listen, man, you don't need that anymore. Plus, you're there to provide, protect, procreate. One of the things also is, like, as we age, specifically for us men, we automatically become the patriarch of our family. Like when people die or, things happen in the family, they're always going to look to the patriarch. Usually that's the first person they look to. And if you're not if you're not healthy, if mentally you're not there, physically you're not there, emotionally you're not there to serve your family and help your family and be that person, man, it's brutal. Like, I had a health scare. I was on my deathbed, and that pretty much destroyed me, knowing that I was, 50 years old. My family's coming to see me. There's nothing I can do. Like, that was horrible for me. And so, knowing that and coming out of that on the other side, it's just a mind shift, right? It's just a rewiring of their identity and who they really are, and getting rid of who they were. I don't know how I got on this topic when we talked about nutrition.
Yeah, no,
but nutrition. It's the nutrition piece that generally is the most difficult. But I make it very simple. We don't count calories. You don't need to count calories. You don't need to weigh your food. It's just, if you make sure that you have those 4 quadrants from a list of foods that, that support our hormones and our health and our metabolism, muscle growth, you're fine. You'll tweak it as you go. Obviously, everyone's different. Some, as we get more fit, we're going to need more calories. So we're going to have to put on a little bit more white rice. We're going to have to maybe add another half a chicken or whatever. So you will need more calories as you get fitter. But in general, I have to keep it very simple, man. Like, it's got to be simple to follow, easy to follow. This is it.
I agree. I think all that makes sense. Let's get into our wrap up questions. And the first one I ask, what do you, because we had a conversation before we started, and I really wanted to ask this. What are you most proud of with your Brotherhood?
I'm just getting goosebumps already. Okay. It's the Brotherhood. It's the guys in my program. It's so our Brotherhood is like a tribe, right? Like, we don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about pop culture. We have men from all different parts of the world, races, religion, everybody. And seeing these guys, and remember, we're talking about 40 and 50 and 60 and 70. We're talking old school guys here, not the new school. These are guys telling each other they love each other. These are guys telling they support it. I remember Captain Bruce, we have our captain today, posted that, he got into the gym, his headspace wasn't there, and he decided to pack up, and flood of comments. Great, you're only human, great work, blah, blah, blah. The support that happens. Plus, we're a tribe, right? Like, we all have the same beliefs and values. We're all trying to help each other get in the best shape of our lives, not only for us, but for the Brotherhood, and then for our community and our loved ones. So, we have like our own signs that people don't know. We have our own like language. We have things that we do on a weekly rituals on a weekly basis. You post your sweaty selfies, you post your meals, and you break it down. You post your accountability. And so, like, it's just kind of like a new identity, but everything that we do is living the over 40 alpha lifestyle, right? The virtues, and seeing these guys, the transformation. Oh my God, the transformations are insane. Like, we have a proof page that literally takes like 30 minutes to go through when you see the body transformations, but that's not the big one for me. The big one is like their relationship with their wives, the relationship with their kids, reversing like type 2 diabetes, their cholesterol, like Eric, whose doctor took him off his mental health prescription pills, guys doing like the Alcatraz swim at 50 some odd years old, and, like going back and doing, things that they would never do, or never think to do, or never think that they could do. But just seeing all of those things, going back to school, and then they're all inspiring each other, and then they meet up with each other. It's absolutely incredible. And to think that, I went to see Bruce. Bruce is our captain because we have captains even in the Brotherhood that these guys say, oh, Bruce needs to be our captain. I was in Australia with him this past couple of months ago, and he said, you know what, Funk, the Brotherhood gives me a purpose. Because as we get older, specifically a lot of men, we lose purpose. We don't know what our purpose is. Kids leave, maybe your wife left, maybe you're retired, maybe, you know, now what? Now what do I do? What was my purpose? My purpose used to be, you know, having the kids here and providing and all of those things. So this provides a lot. It provides a lot, but it's a connection and it's a camaraderie, and it's about not looking at each other as, oh, this guy's from this country or this guy is this color or whatever, and looking at each other as, hey man, we're all in this together. We all start in the same place. We all, you know, end up in the same place, and we're all together through the journey. And it's unbelievable. Like, it's incredible. I love it. That's what drives me every single day.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to give you the chance to share that because there's just so much passion behind that. All right. Do you have a target age that you want to live to?
Yes. I want to live to, so I always say I want to live till I'm 99, but my grandmother died at 99, but she was in a wheelchair. She couldn't really speak very well, you know, but when I'm 99, specifically with all the technology and the medical advancements, et cetera, like I need to see my great grandchildren, right? I want to be doing burpees at 99. I want to be running at 99. Like, I want to do all of these things. So my mindset, because that's the age that I'm looking at, 99, probably more than 99, my behaviors dictate that, right? Like, I want to see my great grandchildren. Like my son doesn't have any kids or not even married, but I want to be there. I want to see that. I think that would be absolutely incredible. So I'm going to do everything I can in my life and my body and with my wife. And, you know, we have the same values as well, to ensure that at least I set myself up to enable myself to get there. So yeah, that's the age. And I know that, you know, and whenever I say that to the guys at the beginning, there's like, who wants to be 99? Like, who wants to live till they're 90? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, guys. I'm not talking 99 like, you know, I'm talking 99 like we are right now. That's and then when I say the great grandchildren, that always like, oh yeah. And then you start to see the wheels going. And maybe turning. I do want to see my great grandchildren. Why would I not want to see my great grandchildren? You know,
that's great. How long do you think humans can live?
Well, I mean, I don't know if this was a meme or something, but I did see a 108-year-old man dancing his butt off on Instagram the other day. And I'm like, man, this guy's killing it. Man, you know, who knows? I mean, unfortunately, it seems like we're declining in our lifespan, specifically men. But the ability to live longer is there. You know, I just think it's the behaviors. So, you know, maybe I'm going to say 99. I can say the same number, because I think that if everyone started to change their behaviors, and again, it's not very easy. You need the guidance, you need the support, you need the right program. Like, my program is not going to work for a woman going through menopause. My program is not really you know, the guys who are 20 years old aren't going to think my program's the greatest because, you know, it doesn't give them what they want. They can work out 5 days a week, 6 days a week. So it's kind of like making sure that you get the right person who understands the challenges that you're going through, right? The struggles that you're going through, so that you are both aligned. Because there's a lot of people who they're just giving you the cookie cutter. But if you understand those struggles, okay, I know what you got. You know, that my trainer said to me that, oh, it must have, you know, low testosterone or whatever it is, high estrogen, because I have these things. And man, my trainer gets me. He understands my struggles. That's the person you want to stay with, because they're going to tweak everything for you. I go see somebody for my mobility and my back issues, and I just show up. I'm a very humble person, so I just show up. My ego's checked before I even leave the house, and I just tell me what I need to do. And that's it. I don't question anything. He could be telling me to do something crazy, and I will do it because he understood what my struggles were. He understood and explained to me why we're doing certain things. And that's the type of person you want to align yourself with when it comes to health and fitness and longevity.
It's interesting that you're so far, and I'm wrapping up, in the 50 previous interviews, no one has actually said that their target age is also the same age that they currently believe humans can live. And that's probably telling, right? Telling about still, even with longevity experts, right, who are understanding that we can live longer and with a healthy lifespan, with a health span that's extended, it would make sense that you would want to live as long as humans can live, and you're the first one to really have that number. All right, so what 2 to 3 protocols, habits, mindsets, let's call them shortcuts because everybody likes shortcuts, would you share related to longevity and living a long health span?
I'm going to go with the 3 C's, man. That's what it boils down to. Number 1 is commitment. You have to be committed. What is your why? Because a lot of people will jump to the nutrition. They'll jump to the workouts. They'll jump to the supplements or whatever it is. And then 2 weeks later, when things get tough or when things get very busy, they're gone, right? So you need to be committed. And the only way to really be committed is having a strong why. Why am I doing this? Something that's deep, something that makes you cry. So that in those tough times, you are going to focus and stay on point. Oh yeah, I don't feel like going to the gym today, but man, this is my why. And this is extremely important to me. So I'm just going to show up, start the process, get it done. Oh, Brenda just brought muffins in today. Brenda, you know what? I'm good. I'm not gonna have those muffins. My why is more important than Brenda's muffins, right? So that commitment. Number 2 is consistency. So now that you've made the commitment, now that you have the why, you've got to stay consistent, right? When you fall down, you get right back up. Bruce, the first thing he said in that post, or the last thing he said in that post is, I'll be back tomorrow, bigger, better, stronger, right? Like, kind of like, okay, I didn't do it today, but I'm going to be back tomorrow, bigger, better, stronger, no matter how I felt or how I feel. It's about that consistency. We have to be consistent. We have to make this a lifestyle. We have to make this a habit, to the point where you just don't know any other way to eat. Like, you think I want to work out every single day? Absolutely not. Because I know how difficult my workouts are. The last thing I want to do is, oh man, I got this 25-minute crazy workout I got to do. Oh man, I don't want to do it. And I'm just kicking and screaming and warming up. And then I'm in and I feel absolutely incredible because I don't know any better. Like, I that's all I know. That's my lifestyle. But that came from consistency. So building that consistency. And then finally, it's challenging yourself to be 1% better every day, but challenging yourself to be outside your comfort zone, because we all want to live in comfort, but the growth happens outside the comfort zone, right? And you've heard that many times, but people still want to, they want to scurry to that little comfort. Man, it's challenging yourself. It's doing things different. It's learning. It's consistently developing yourself, recreating yourself over and over again, specifically as we get older, because when you're in that space of retirement, this is a perfect chance to reinvent yourself. Oh, yeah, I'm retired now. I want to do something else. I want to do something I never, haven't done before because I'm healthy. And, and that 1% every day adds up, right? Consistently adds up. So commitment, consistency, and challenge yourself.
I love that. Funk, how can people contact you?
You can go to Instagram, Funk Roberts Fitness at Instagram. You can head over to over40alpha.com. You can see me on YouTube. I post follow along workouts on YouTube I try to get every week, but every other week at least. And the podcast is on there as well.
Awesome. And what in the near future are you excited about?
Yeah, man. So a few things. I just released a book, Nutrition for Men Over 40. So getting
some congratulations.
Thank you.
See the cover. Show it.
Yeah, Amazon bestseller right here. This is the blueprint. Great stories, but it really gives you the blueprint to eating healthy, specifically for us guys. The other thing that I'm really excited about is there's a lot of trainers and coaches out there that actually don't know how to train men over 40 because there's never been a certification course for that. So I've created a certification course for trainers and coaches on how to train men over 40 to understand the physiological changes, to understand the struggles. So I did a live cohort, so I'm excited about that next year. And I'm doing some other things in the tribe space. So, but I'm mostly excited about the continuous journey I'm going to see with the guys in the Brotherhood, not the regulars, but the new ones, because we're doing a very aggressive campaign to get newer guys into the Brotherhood, and seeing their transformation it's incredible.
That's awesome. All right. So you can find him, IG, Funk Roberts Fitness, over40alpha.com, on YouTube. Look up Funk Roberts. You will find him. He's the shredded African-American dude.
No, I'm Canadian. Black.
Who doesn't have a dark black background anymore. That is cool. Funk, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And let's focus on longevity, everybody. Let's focus on longevity.
Love it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Live Beyond the Norms podcast. Make sure to subscribe and follow. Also, make sure not to be that guy, the guy sharing this podcast with people who are not interested in living beyond the norms. If you would like to learn more about the ESS60 molecule, the molecule responsible for the single longest longevity experimental result on mammals in history, a full 90% extension of life, visit myvitalc.com. That's myvitalc as in carbon.com.